travel isn't just about destinations, it's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
702
Live
on the Prime Media Plus app,
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
Good morning to you all. Good morning. Welcome to the Clement Manyathela Show. 6 minutes past 9. Tshidi Madia in for Clement. I'll be with you until 12. It is the Friday edition, the Feel Good Friday edition. We've made it to the end of the week. I hope you're feeling good. I hope you're grateful. I hope you've hit some high notes, some successes this week. And if you want to share them with us, we're more than happy to hear. We're more than happy to cheer you on and to celebrate your big wins. There's lots coming up on the show.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
Whew. Where does one even begin when you think about Floyd Shivambu's media briefing yesterday? I think I got some things right. I did say, political party. But anyway, so he had that media briefing yesterday in Midrand. There was lots of speculation about what is he going to do. Is this the end for Floyd Shivambu, the beginning of the end? And I think some people are still trying to grapple with what it means. It was a relatively lengthy media briefing. He was going to tell it all. I wasn't surprised. I did say he'll speak about what led to his demotion in the Umkhonto weSizwe party. So here's my take. Okay. One, the political party that we said he's going to form, he's definitely forming. What that is for me, we're going to consult all over the country, because that's what he said. They're going to go hear people, hear if there is a need for a political party. He says that they're not going to jump into starting a political party. He wants people's opinions about whether or not South Africans want it. That it's not about the self, it's about the people. My take is a political party is a foregone conclusion. We've seen this movie before. You need to go as far back as when Bantu Holomisa was let go of by the ANC. How the UDM came about was a consultative process. How Agang came about. Agang is the party political platform. Remember that thing? That's also how Agang came about. Actually, I say they also had a consultation about what the way forward is. Rise Mzansi, via Rivonia Circle, if you may, they also had consultations. What's funny, even the EFF, by the way, it didn't just come out of nothing. It was consultations. So for me, that's testing the ground and trying to see where and how you can throw your resources, because we are going to a local government. That's the actions of forming a political party. That's what he was telling us. He needed to set ground and foundation. That's what they're working for. Secondly, my other takeaway, Floyd Shivambu spoke about all manner of criminality. I mean, it's quite startling where he says that there's embezzlement. 7 million rand a month leaves the MK party. For me, on this particular score, Floyd should have started at a police station. Before us, he should have gone to a police station. Or after speaking to the country and telling us what's gone wrong in the Umkhonto weSizwe party, this morning, Floyd Shivambu should have gone to a police station. Otherwise, he's complicit. Then he is a part and parcel of all the criminality he claims he saw in his 6 months as the Secretary General of the Umkhonto weSizwe party. So that's a big thing for me. He, in my eyes, if he does nothing about all of this, is an accomplice, is just another criminal. There's nothing more to it for me if he doesn't act on these claims. I said yesterday, his pick in building this party will be of disgruntled EFF people. That's where he thinks he'll be able to build a base. And that's why so much of yesterday was about the EFF. Here it's a cult. Here it's a this, it's a that. A lot of that is a divide and conquer strategy at play. He's literally setting the cat amongst the pigeons. So I think there's paranoia already in the EFF. It'll play to that. And I think that's exactly what he's doing. That thing about how all of us agreed that this is not a person in Julius Malema should not be president of the country. All of those claims are not for nothing. And all of those claims, by the way, I don't think are actually void of truth. Some of them did speak about what they thought about their leadership and whether or not it was fit for purpose, and they couldn't agree. Some of them had said that to us, even in the lead up to those elections. So I don't think it's necessarily fault, but I think the reason why he's using it the way that he did is interesting. What else am I missing? Ooh, the intelligence reports. Okay. So this one was interesting for me because everybody knows the fake intelligence reports are the modus operandi. We've seen it so many times. It's how it was used in the lead up to Polokwane. Think about former President Thabo Mbeki. Think about what happened to crime fighting institutions in the lead up. Think about how it was used to get rid of the late Pravin Gordhan as a finance minister. But no, it doesn't stop there. Even Floyd Shivambu himself and impeached public protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane were peddling at some point a fake intelligence report on judicial corruption. So he mustn't act like shock, horror. There's such a thing as a fake intelligence report. He's been part and parcel of co-signing and being part and parcel of all of that. So please don't come at us as if you're speaking to children who don't understand. In fact, let's not insult children. Let's not pretend we don't see what it is. So the hypocrisy of all of that for me is ridiculous. And then the other thing that I think is important to flag, him saying I'm not resigning. He's forcing Zuma's hand. He's forcing Zuma to fire him. And for me, that's aimed at showcasing, exposing Zuma's hypocrisy. My ultimate takeaway is Fikile Mbalula. I'm sure it's Fikile Mbalula who once said, and I can't remember where, but I remember Mbax once saying, you don't entangle yourself with former President Jacob Zuma. You must get stung once, learn your lesson, and never go back. Don't participate in dalliances with the former president. You will be sorry. You'll be very sorry. To me, former President Jacob Zuma used Floyd to deal with Julius because Julius Malema, no matter how you put it, he's never been the same since August 2024. And now he's dealt with Floyd himself. That political brotherhood has absolutely been shattered by former President Jacob Zuma. I think that's important. As I finish my thoughts on this, my 5 cents really on what must happen now, Floyd must go to the police station. I don't have a middle ground for it. Like, you told us there's all manner of criminality happening. Take it to the police. That's what it's got to be dealt with. The other thing, the MKP must fire him immediately. I mean, he's daring you. Stop wasting time. Get over and done with. It should have been done. We should have woken into news that they've expelled him already. And then the other thing that I think is important, his opponents, other political parties, civil society must go back to what Floyd said. Even us, all of us, must go back to what he said yesterday and reach out to the necessary institutions to test all those allegations. I think that's very important to deal with. 011-883-0702, 072-702-1702.
For more about 702,
Go to primemediaplus.com.
Coming to your calls now. Jabu in Springs, good morning.
Morning, Tshidi.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
Yes, I'm bored. Like, Floyd bored me yesterday, right? I think, guys, we are really just wasting time. I feel like sometimes South Africa is really starved of, Greek politicians. Floyd is
we are
for me, colleagues. Because, Tshidi, I'm wondering, he gets there, he badmouths all these organizations, and we're supposed to take you seriously. You're just demonstrating the character of the man and the politician for us, and I really don't understand also Floyd, other than mentioning Floyd and Julius Malema in the same sentence, Tshidi. Where does he get this political capital he thinks he has, this clout? What has Floyd done, guys, in South Africa, in South African politics, other than really moving and climbing the ladder with Julius, that he today called,
and said absolutely nothing for 11, 12 years, and then today comes around and complains. I'm like, where was your voice all along? Where was your voice?
And what's funny to your point, and you spot on, Tshidi, right? To say he's calling this committee and he says it's made up of ex-ANC, ex-EFF, ex-MK. It's a political party, guys. Let's not kid ourselves. And I feel like Floyd now understands the system. He's just now trying to obviously maybe do stuff for his retirement in politics and SA. But guys, what has the man done? You know, like, quote me something, policies, influence, something is, you know what, here's an idea, Floyd. You know, you see Abo outer these white civil-based societies. Start that, Floyd. You know, start a civil, powerful black one that's also fights for black.
Pick an issue.
Black.
Pick an issue.
Like,
yeah.
Exactly. Like this guy. So that's just my 2 cents, really.
Thank you.
Yeah. But
Thank
let's talk about something else.
Thank you, Tabu. I was bored. You know what, Tabu? You and me both, actually. Thank you so much. That's Tabu out in Springs. That's the other thing. Like, our politicians suffer from so much hubris that all of them believe that they can lead. If I can't do it, no one else can. Yeah? There's nothing else. Where's your imagination about what else you can do? That's also a big question for me. Like, why is it that the only other thing to consider is to also start another party? Yeah? Where's your imagination? This is somebody that many have lauded as like a mastermind of sorts. Where is that? Why can't we see it at play? Koketso in the East End, hi.
Yes, yes, Tshidi. How are you?
Very good. Go on.
Yes, I'm just a bit disturbed about this whole Floyd press conference, because I think for me it's worrying, because what we're witnessing is a fragmentation of the left. You know, where you're going to have like 1 million parties on the left and then like 3 parties on the right. And that's actually not good for our democracy, right? Because what we need now, more than anything, what's missing from, you know, what the offering that voters have is something that's a mix between
tangible and solid on the left.
What the ANC is offering, what the EFF is offering. And currently now, for me, Floyd, him starting a new political party, it's just a non-starter, because how is he going to be different from what the NK or the EFF is offering or other parties on the left? It's just simply fragmenting the left vote and just confusing voters more. And I think the person who had suggested this was Professor who said we actually need to look at amending the constitution to cap the amount of parties we have, because it's actually getting really ridiculous now. You know, I think we need to sort of start maturing as a democracy, and we're not going to do it when every single election cycle, every 5 years, we have a new party coming up.
Absolutely.
We need to now almost like stop the parties that are there, and then let people then decide from what is already offered, or let's get something different. Because I always feel like, where is the party that's like a DA but for like African people? Right?
You want more centrist parties, eh? You want more centrist parties that can speak to both. And we're not having that. But it's not a South African problem. Hold on, Kogetso. It's not an SA problem only. When you look for the central posture, look around the world. The rights are on the rise for a reason. There aren't enough people trying to pull center, or even to try and reimagine or re-engineer our politics. There was an attempt at some point. The arrival of Rise Mzansi was meant to be that. But when you look at them, you don't see that. I think they now look like people are trying to bring in some level of seriousness, and I think are getting too consumed by governance in and of itself. So you don't see that anymore. But I take your point. There's lots of calls. I want to try to give everybody an opportunity. Thank you so much. That's Koketso out in the East Rand, my favorite place in the whole wide world. Lesego and Branston, hi.
Hi, Tshidi. You know, Floyd, he says he had ambitions to change Mkhonto season. No, it was political greed. Everyone knew that this was going to happen, except for Floyd. And I'm surprised how. Now, with him starting a political party, yes, Floyd is a political scholar, but I don't think he has the political charm to be able to start a political party and have people follow him. So I think, as the lady before said, I think it's going to be a non-starter. But in this process, what saddens me is the fact that there's no money to fund businesses, startups, but there's always money to fund political parties. So who's losing in this process?
Yeah. Isn't that the tragedy, though?
Vote, it is a tragedy. The black vote is being dissected, and there is no one singular voice. We obviously will never have a one singular voice speaking for everyone. But if you look at it, political parties are now becoming like churches. There's thousands of them, and once we don't speak in one voice, then we might as well just might value the country.
Close shop. Thank you. That's also out in Bryanston. Lesoko speaking about the thing about like you need an imagination. I mean, to capture people's imagination, rather, you need to have a personality in this country because, unfortunately, that's what a lot of our politics are like. People care about persona and the likes. Benny and Bramfontein, hi.
Hi, Tshidi, how are you?
I'm good. Go on.
Tshidi, yesterday we were abused. I think what happened yesterday was just an abuse of the media fraternity and stuff like that. Let me go to what I want to say. One, it is not in dispute that Floyd is very, very intelligent. He's very, very brilliant. And the only blunder that he is doing right now is for him to think that he can go and form a political party. And today's politics is not about saving the people. It's about saving our pockets, our girlfriends, our deputy girlfriends, our deputy wives, and all those kinds of things. I would have advised Floyd, because politically, from where I'm sitting, he is finished politically. And I would have advised this guy to stop thinking about political party for one reason. He does not have that charisma that Julius Malema has. No single young politician today, including even in the ANC Youth League. The ANC Youth League died when Malema left.
Do we need charismatic politicians, though, actually, Benny? Or do we need politicians who are focused on the actual job at hand? Our country is falling apart. That actually should be the focus. We are stuck on personalities, and I don't think that's helpful.
Yeah, we need Tshidi Madia, people who are not focused on what I will get after 5 years of my term coming to an end. Like
careerist. All right.
I was going to advise him to say, Floyd, go and pursue your because he has a master's degree. Go and pursue your PhD. Become a political analyst. And you do your PhD.
You must find other things to do. But thank you so much, Benny. Now, political analysts, I also have views about political analysts. Thank you, Benny Bramfontein. I love the analysts. I have views. It's like the political space, like the political journalism space. It's full. Okay, we've got to find other areas as well. Tabison Polokwani Tovela.
No. You see, Tshidi, and I think we must be correct in this way. I don't agree with people that says that because you don't have charisma, therefore you can't form a political party. It's not that they're not there. In this particular country, people vote for each and every individual they see that is appearing on TV. But let's distinguish between howling and charisma. I think people are looking for people who can be able to be on the platform, make noise, insult, and all of that. That's what they call charisma. But there are two things that I've learned with the press conference yesterday, which has proven some of us right. That when we have said that the red people there, it's a cult. We wanted someone internal to be able to prove us that indeed that is correct.
But you said after you leave. Oh, wow. You said after you leave.
It normally happens. It normally happens with cultists. I mean, you can go to all these churches. Remember, it normally happens with cultists. I can assure you.
That area was in a cult. Yeah. Anyway.
Look back in when EFF was formed. Where are the Mpora Makatsas and all of that? And many. If you can look in terms of the top 20 of those that were there who formed EFF in all the provinces around, you want to tell me that they're still with the EFF? I can bet that they are no longer there. So now that issue is closed. But you say what is very interesting is what we have said. We have seen the movie of people that goes around, but these people are using it to galvanize and be able to galvanize support on the ground and say no. Who are the people that we can work with on the ground? Because once you say you want to form a political party today and tomorrow you think people will follow you, they are not going to. So you are actually going around seeking individuals who are vulnerable. Some of them are not happy with their own political organization. Some of them would have been denied councillorship. Some of them would have been dismissed as parliamentarians.
He's building his structures. That's what this is. It's not consultation. It's structures. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. That's Tabiso out of Portugal. Tabiso says only once you've come out of the cult do you then go, I was in a cult. Is that it? I don't know. I'd have greater respect if you are in an organization and you see wrongdoing and you start saying it, I'm probably a pill in the newsroom because now I say things that I think should be said very often. Like, guys, I don't agree. I do it in the media fraternity quite often. Like, we are moving in the wrong direction on this one, colleagues. What are you doing? So you've got to be able to find your voice in order to have some level of respect, I think. And so when somebody like Floyd comes out and speaks the way that he does, I think it's difficult, right? To have respect for the message. The credibility of the messaging is tainted. That's what I think. James in Johannesburg. Hi, you in the job at CBD.
Hi, Tshidi, how's it?
Go on.
Tshidi, what's a cult? What is a cult? I mean, this guy from Polokwane, he defined cult in terms of people leaving the EFF. Really? I don't think so, you know? I mean, I can tell you now that I don't agree with, I don't vote for EFF. But I can also concede that Malema is a political superstar. I mean, he's loved. He's an international figure, you know. And then his party held a conference, and then you all saw it. He was elected. You can argue other things that maybe it was not. I don't know what you can do. And the conference was held by people who are very much popular. The lawyers who are in South Africa. So what is a cult? To understand, can you really be an organization for? Hello,
I'm listening to you.
You can always be can you be in an organization CD for 11 years and say that Malema is a cult?
You can be in a cult for a lifetime.
But what is a cult, CD? What is a cult? What is a cult? I want to know what is a cult. I mean, people are saying Malema is the EFF is a cult.
Not a dictator, say it. That's what they say.
What is a cult? I mean, look. There are strong figures in politics. Look at Helen Zille in the DA. She's very strong. You know, I've just finished Tony Leon's book, Being There. He says that he feels that maybe Helen Zille sometimes she overshadows Jane Hazen, but is she a cult? No, she's a strong figure in politics.
Malema is just a strong figure.
Yes, look at Jacob Zuma. Look at Jacob Zuma during corruption.
You know, there have always been questions about internal democracy in the EFF, and that's what Floyd, I think, is trying to allude to.
There is, look, I can tell you there is internal democracy. I see, look at Jimmy Mani. They just came, you know, later in the EFF, they were allowed, they were doing what
they came and they was taken straight to the top.
Yes, I mean, I was listening to
on the back of the very much efforts of people in the EFF who built the party. That's not internal democracy. No, that's not internal democracy. That's decisions being made at a whim. It's not about the people in the party.
I don't attend EFF. I don't attend EFF's meetings, but I can tell you that when I see EFF people speak, like Abu Kalniaus, when I see Abu Mqinishwaku speaks, I don't think that, you know, they are conditioned, you know, to speak this way or that other way. Because they don't even know what they are going to be asked. So now for me, I'm saying, what is a cult? People must define to us what is a cult. Because, yes, what is a cult?
What is a cult? Yeah, James, you know what?
You can't define a cult by Abu leaving the party.
No, in fact, you've just defined it now by people being conditioned. You say you don't think that they are. I'd argue that there is a... No, I'm going to go to news, but let me tell you a quick example. I'm going to make a very quick example where I do think there's a point to be made. You mentioned Mqinishwaku, and I always go back to Mqinishwaku because this was something that bothered me as a journalist. Eh? EFF used to say it's ready to govern. Do you remember that phrasing? Government meeting. Yes. Do you remember? Yes. Then you've got Mqinishwaku who becomes a Joburg MMC immediately. Yes. Now, when you're a Joburg MMC, you serve the residents of Johannesburg. At the time, EFF had an issue with ENCA. So ENCA approaches Mqinishwaku, refuses to interview him. He fails to be discerning enough as an MMC whose job is to serve the residents, to speak about issues of the residents. I go to an EFF briefing and I ask Julius Malema, how would you approach that now that you're in government at local level? And he goes, no, you must speak to them. You represent the public. But his representative couldn't figure that out. Why?
Why? Why? It's a position. No, wait, I want to answer you. It's a position that was taken by the political party because of their view of what the ENCA behaved. But now they've kissed and make up, and then
I'm have to take Malema to say you can go for him to go.
No, but a cult for me, because you see, when you say it's a cult, it's like Malema is closing people's mouth; they can't talk. I don't see that. I see, I see Kalniaus going there talking about, you know, the army things. I see Mqinishwaku working. I see people all over the EFF speaking, to understand. I saw the EFF holding a conference. I saw people being elected. I saw a lady came up and said that, guys, EFF must change. Women must be in position. I don't see any cult. Malema is sitting there. I don't
Okay.
see a cult. People
You're
must
refusing
define
to
to us
also.
what is
No,
a cult.
I think you must
What
also
is
have
a cult?
All right, James.
What
man.
is a cult? So, thank you.
James must be honest. No, he's being dishonest. Some of those issues that he's raised, he's being dishonest. That Mquni Choko example stays top of mind for me because that's not what I expect to see of an MMC who's confused about what he ought to do until the leader tells him what to do. That suggests that you're conditioned. So those issues are top of mind for me all the time. It's 9:31.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabotja, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
All right, it's 9:36. We are still discussing a variety of issues. I'll come back to your calls. I see all your calls on Floyd Shivambu, but I want to bring something else to your attention very quickly. So there's two interesting stories that I've picked up on in the city of Cape Town on the one end, as well as in the city of Tshwane on the other end. I'll start with Cape Town. So in Belleville, there's a story about foreign nationals. I think it's African migrants, around 360 of them living in tents. They understand that they're refusing to leave. They moved there 5 years ago from a church in Green Market Square. Now, according to reports that I've been hearing, they don't want to be reintegrated into their old communities here in South Africa. They claim it's too dangerous. They don't want to be taken back home to their respective countries. They say that's also too dangerous. You're hearing reports about how they want to be taken, I think, by South Africa to Canada and the likes. So I'm trying to understand what's actually going on. I'm joined on the line for a quick one on this one by Cape Town Mayor Jordan Lewis. Jordan, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your time. I'll try to be quick. The residents there, they feel you are unfair. They seem to want better options put on the table from the city. But you, on the other hand, are worried about grime and crime.
Well, these two kind of refugee tents, if we call them that, have become sites of huge public complaints in the area. There's one in Kensington where people are constantly reporting crime, and similar in Belleville. In Belleville, the two groups of refugees have actually started fighting with one another, and there's been an illegal eviction of one group by the other group. So there's now a significant chunk of them actually living on the pavement outside the tents in Belleville because they're not allowed to go back inside by the others. So this is becoming a very messy and totally unsustainable situation. Living conditions inside those tents are poor. They are costly. The city has stopped paying for the tents a few years ago now, but Home Affairs is still paying for them. We are still paying for toilets on site and so on. It has to end now.
You are approaching the court, or you've approached the courts and I've seen this movie before. There will be NGOs that are involved that will try to get in the way. So in your eyes, how do you resolve this? Because from my understanding, these people are saying, take us out of the country, that's fine, but take us to Canada. Don't take us back to where we come from in terms of the different countries. Don't take us to communities where we come from here because we've experienced xenophobic attacks. So what is the impasse and what's the way forward?
Well, to my mind, there are only two options. The one option is repatriation to their country, and that would be the responsibility of the Department of Home Affairs, and they've agreed that they would do that. We've offered to contribute to the costs of that in a small way, nothing very substantial, but we will help. And then the other option is what what's always been on the table, that they reintegrate into the South African community if they are here legally. And that option is theirs, but there is no option which includes them staying at those sites.
But lastly, the issue of the NGOs. I don't know if you're having conversations with them as well on the side to try and find a way outside. Because if you go to the courts will act in accordance with what's in the Constitution. And often we've seen governments failing in this regard.
Look, let me be honest. There are a number of NGOs that oppose these actions in Cape Town and around South Africa. We've seen that. And they often label themselves as human rights organizations. I think sometimes they should be called anti-human rights organizations because it is not is not nice for the people who are living there. It's not dignified. That's not a place where children should be growing up. Then many of them are not attending school. There's levels of health are poor there. It really is not a good situation that no one should be looking to perpetuate and lengthen. And it just doesn't make sense to me that there's organizations who actually want people to stay in those conditions and want to prevent the state from acting in the best interests of those people, even if they don't see it necessarily the same way. It is in their undoubtedly in their best interest and in the best interest of the broader community as well. As for Canada, look, I must be honest with you. I even approached the former Canadian ambassador just to check: is there some system in Canada that I'm not aware of where these people could actually be accepted? And of course, the response was no. That's never going to happen. That's ludicrous. So even when I went there a couple of days ago, they were repeating again the same demand: we will not leave unless we go to Canada. I don't know who's told them that is an option. Obviously, the levels of understanding are also fairly poor, but that is definitely not an option and will never be an option.
My part in short, Jordan, is there a room for you to speak to the NGOs that are involved to try and find the solutions that are viable?
So there's no NGOs involved in this case at the moment. Even the United Nations High Commission on Refugees is supporting this eviction. And they agree that it must now happen. They've tried. The UNHCR has tried over years to try and get these particular residents to see sense and to accept the help and the offers that the government has made. And so they've now come to the point where they've made it clear that they support it. Other NGOs might get involved later in the case. I sincerely hope not. And of course, if that is the case, and they do get involved, we will engage them at the time, as we do around. You've seen the work that we're doing with the homeless community in Cape Town. We work reasonably constructively with the NGOs. The thing that frustrates me is when they oppose simply for the sake of opposing, even when there is a much, much better offer on the table. In the case of homelessness, we've developed the safe space model, which offers very dignified, excellent alternative, and yet still we see them opposing cases simply for the sake of opposing, and that actually just prolongs people suffering on the street. So we hope that they don't do that.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your time. That's Cape Town Mayor Jordan Hill-Lewis. They're giving us a quick update on that really bizarre story. But then if you look at, it's not bizarre, it's actually quite common, and it does require a proper solution, actually. And then if you've been watching overnight in Tshwane, the mayor, Dr. Tshidi Madia, has been leading by law enforcement operations. They've hit house spots. They went to House 22. You all know yourselves on House 22. They gave businesses eviction notices. They checked on permits. Interestingly enough, she flagged that they are going back. These are revisits, and some of the areas that they'd closed down before operation. I want you to take a listen to a post she put up on social media last night about these raids.
Residents of Tshwane, we are back in Sunnyside. You will recall that a few weeks ago, we were here, we closed down all these shops because they are not complying. They opened, we came back, we closed them down, they opened, now we're back again. Really, it's tiring to deal with these people. These people are just like, something else. The audacity of just sheer disrespect of our laws. And I think we also dropped the ball here because these people were never supposed to reopen again, but we are here now. So we have closed others. We have taken away those without proper documentation. There was an operation at the flat where some of them they ran to the flat, and we are checking them now. And we've got our team from the different departments. So I know what is important is that we're not going to give up on this fight. You can see that this city has been stolen right under our nose, and we must reclaim it. So we here this evening. We're going to come back again and again and again until we get it right.
I apologize for the quality of that audio, but you can hear the mayor, Dr. Tshidi Madia of the capital in Tshwane, sounds really frustrated. They have the operations, they shut these unlawful establishments down, and then they come back and they're up and running again, over again. What do the cities need to do? How should cities be approaching these issues where they're trying to enforce bylaws? And that is being undermined by all manner of stakeholders, What do they need to do? 011-883-0702, 072-702-1702. Chilizi, I'll come back to you after this.
Travel isn't just about destinations, it's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Tshidi Madia, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place, whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
702
Let's walk the talk on 92.7
and 106 FM.
9:49, the Clement Manyathela Show. Tshidi Madia standing in for Clement. We're speaking about Floyd Shivambu. He's disappointed many people. I know, I get it. Speaking about his media briefing yesterday. What do you make of it? Is it a political party? I say if it works like a duck, you're probably looking at a duck. And we're also speaking about, of course, what's happening in the cities. You saw the Tshwane mayor and her late night raids, and we heard from Cape Town Mayor Jordan Gill-Lewis about this back and forth that they have with these. I think they are labeling them refugees, but you could hear he's quite reluctant to even label them that. They're refusing to be reintegrated into communities. They're refusing to be assisted in going back to their own home countries. They want to be taken to places like Canada. That's the situation that they're dealing with in Cape Town, and they've now gone to the courts to try and evict well over 300 people who they say some are now living along the pavement. Tshilidzi, you've been very patient with me. Thank you so much. Tshilidzi's out in Pretoria. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Go on.
Yes, I think Floyd Shivambu is becoming one of the worst disappointment that South African youth has ever experienced, from a young leader that promised many youth out there that as young people we can join the picket line and fight for what we think is relevant for young people. And yesterday was just a final nail to the coffin of the think tank, because now, as people used to say, he's the think tank, and Malema used to say, what thinking was the guy doing? And now it's becoming clear that maybe he was not the think tank, as people used to say, because yesterday when you look at how he then invited you guys, you see the caliber of journalists who were there. One would have anticipated a very interesting political movement that will then make people to start think about how to go about politics in South Africa and things like that. But it was all like, it's like you guys went to podcast and chill with me.
First of all, Elizabeth, thank you. First of all, some of us weren't there. I know that people were like, oh, Tshidi, are you going? I did not go, because you must give other journalists a chance to also engage these leaders. On my part, I've tried very hard to ever sit down with Floyd, because there's lots of questions that Floyd Shivambu actually needs to speak to. There's lots of things that he's playing victim of at the moment that he actually was complicit in. That's what I've been hoping for. Since he said he's leaving EFF, I've been like, Kikopa a shot. He's never given me one, but thank you so much, Tshilidzi. And it's like, you guys don't underestimate those journalists. Those questions, by the way, sometimes you might not understand why a question is being asked. And only much later will you realize its relevance. There's a message on the WhatsApp line that says Floyd doesn't need charm. He can use Bushiri and his popularity to get the numbers. I actually think there's something there. I think people underestimate how much influence Bushiri, the fugitive, has in this country, and how much that intersection between politics and churches delivers. I mean, if somebody like, and I'm not trying to undermine him, but if somebody like Musi Maimane, and look at the campaign that he had, if he could find his way into parliament, so can Floyd. And we're in this really strange era in our politics where these small parties actually matter. That's how bad our political landscape actually looks at the moment, where maybe somebody earlier said that there should be legislation around it. Supposedly that might be where the remedy lies. But as it stands, it's a free-for-all. Godfrey Krugersdorp, hi.
Hi, Tshidi. One of the biggest critics of Floyd Shivambu, but I must say I agree with a lot of things that he said yesterday about the EFF and the MK. And yes, nothing screams more cult than EFF. Yes, people are saying why he's talking now that he's out of EFF. I mean, if you can tell me one person who once spoke out from within the cult, you can never find such a person because, cult is about mind control, it's about bullying, it's about threats. So you can only speak once you're out of the cult. I'll give an example of a cult that was in USA. They used to call it a Waco Siege.
Oh, yes. I follow cults a lot, so I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yes. Those guys couldn't speak out. They only speak out once the FBI bulldozed into the premises and there was fire, people were dying. That's when people started to speak out. So I don't blame Floyd. As much as I'm not impressed with his recent political stance, but it's correct. EFF is definitely a cult.
All right, Godfrey, thank you. That's your take. No comments. Thank you so much. That's Godfrey out in Krugerstop. No comment. And I've said my piece. That Ntleni Chaku moment taught me many things about what to make of the political party. That's why I'm leaving it at that. I am going to come to your voice notes and WhatsApps. Sammy, I'll come to you in just a bit. But first, let me play some of your voice notes.
Good morning, Tshidi. On a different topic, the mayor of Tshwane, what she's, doing. My main question is, what have other people before her have been doing? The rooting of corruption, of illegality, of, lack of, upholding of the bylaws. My main question is, people who have been before her, who go to the office every day, who work for the municipalities, what have they been doing? Did they just go and sit at their offices? Did they not go out and just maintain rule of law, bylaws? What have they been doing to earn their salaries? Just my question for the day.
Morning, City. Who qualifies as a refugee? What is a refugee? Because you can't just say, I'm from whatever country, I'm a refugee. There needs to be condition for someone to qualify as a refugee. And you can't just come here and say, take me to Canada. How does that work? And now Home Affairs, they say they can't deport these people because of NGOs. What must take precedence? Because you can't just come to a country and say, no, take me to Canada. Who must bear that cost? And are the Canadian authorities ready to receive these people?
Hi, Tshidi. The mayor just needs to persist. Unfortunately, bylaws have been ignored for close to 3 decades. And if that's the case, the owners know there's money to be made. They need to persist, always arrive when they see that the shops have been reopened, and eventually the owners will feel the pinch and move. But it's still very lucrative, and no one really takes these initiatives seriously. If the mayor is serious, if people in power want to be serious, they need to demonstrate they're serious and persist and be continuous in closing them down.
Tshidi, what do these cities need to do is that I think we need to change our constitution with regard to this. There's no way, because our courts, they're always going to side with these NGOs. And some of these NGOs, they need to be investigated. What is it that they stand for? Why are they anti-South African? They're always prioritizing foreigners. So this is Thabo here in Tshwane again.
Thank you so much for that on the WhatsApp line. Morning, Tshidi. Tshwane Mayor will win the battle. Nasipi is a beacon of hope and she's the best. I do think it's encouraging to see a mayor going back to where the problem is. That's what people in Johannesburg are hoping for. I know a couple of Joburg residents who are like, where's our mayor and his raids? I live in Ekurhuleni and I'm also like, but where's our mayor and his raids? That's what you want to see. You want to see people who are supposedly actively trying to deal with the issue. And I find it refreshing when a politician is honest and say, I was here last week, I closed this down, why is it open again? I'm being undermined by my own. So all of those are interesting. It's like green shoots, right? Of what is possible and what we hope for as we go to local government elections. Thank you for your input.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabotja, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place, whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.